Okay, the recording is started, and we're off and running. So this evening, my goal is to get through the vast majority of assignments that we'll have to do before the class is over, and kind of give you those instructions, um, so that next week we can go to where we're just kind of checking in each week. Don't worry, I'll explain it all here. Okay. Um, so um, let's jump into that stuff. If we have time, I do want to also demonstrate that Handshake job finding app. I don't know. There's some good things about it, and some other things are not as good as I thought they were or remember them being. But anyways, here we go. Um, if I'm from the main page, right, you can see you have announcements and the basics of the class. And look at that. For our welding students, I updated the picture there. We got somebody looks like they're doing a little TIG welding right there. So, anyways, um, so I'm going to click on assignments. We got Michael coming in. Welcome in, Michael. And Luis, welcome in. So we're just jumping into our assignments. And I've added some stuff. And you know what's kind of funny is I wish Canvas, when you guys saw it, it was organized how I put it together. I'll show you what I mean. I'm going to leave student mode for a minute here. I have all the Title V forms that we have to do. They're all in a group, but for whatever reason, it doesn't organize it that way on your guys' end of Canvas. Um, but I've finished these out, so we have forms 7, 8, 9, and 10 are all loaded up, and I wanna go over those guys with you. Okay, so let's do that first. And so what I will do is I'll put it back in student mode, and it seems kind of silly, but the next uh, title, Title V form you would have to do would be this midterm assessment form. But I think the first one I actually want to talk about with you guys is the timesheet because I've been getting a lot of questions on this timesheet. So let me open this up and we're gonna look at the timesheet, look at the form, and I loaded the hours. Now we'd actually looked at this chart here that I have on the screen. We looked at this chart last week, and I copied it here because I've been getting a lot of questions. Well, how many hours do I have to work? Well, the work experience program recently updated this. So actually what I had put in your class syllabus was old information and I didn't realize it was old. I actually copied it from the head work experience person for the college. I copied it from her syllabus example. She goes, "Hey, put this stuff in your syllabus." So I put it in there, and turned out it was old information. Last semester they actually updated it. So this chart shows you how many hours you have to work for so many units. Basically, it's 54 hours equals 1 unit. Okay, so if you're doing 4 units of work experience, you have to work at least 216 hours. Now, here's what's interesting for this for me as a teacher, like when I write curriculum for a class, this is exactly the same ratio. So like a typical automotive class that is well, a typical automotive class used to be 4 units, and it was 108 hours because we had basically 2 units in class, and they figured you had the same amount of time outside of class. So, anyways, what the college did is they updated this so it was more in line with all your other college classes and different things, where X amount of hours equal 1 unit. So, for example, 54 hours of lab time in an automotive class equals 1 unit. It's the same thing here in work experience. So, like Luis was asking me tonight, well, how many hours do I have to work and when can I start taking those hours? Let's look at the timesheet. I put a link in here, so it's linked into the assignment. So here's that timesheet. All right, so here's the day. You put your name, your W, student number, the class. You're either going to be in AT 298 or you might be in the Weld 298. Anyways, you're going to put all that information in, right? Instructor is French, right? Class, all right. So you get all that in there. When can you start recording your hours? After you have after the date basically on your application. So let's say you filled out your work experience application, the first form, you filled that out on February 10th and then submitted it. Well, you can start recording hours then on February 11th. Okay, so when you look at the dates and you go to fill this thing out, and I'm gonna go ahead and click download and open it up so I can edit this thing, right? If I'm gonna put February, I'll put Feb there, and I'm gonna start. If I had filled out my application and dated it February 10th and then submitted it to Canvas, I could start my recording my hours on the 11th. So I guess one important thing to get through to you guys is like look at your application that you sent in and don't claim hours before the application was filled out, right? So the application, that's like your start. So what I would say is whatever the day is on the application, you can start your timesheet on the next day. Now, the other question I got was, well, how many hours do I need? That's on on this form. Hang on, let me go back. On the assignment, I mean. So where is it? Timesheet. So this chart right here shows you the hours, and it's, I don't know, the 10 weeks, 8 weeks, it's a little bit confusing. I think the part that makes the most sense is the last two columns. How many units am I taking and how many hours do I need? So if I'm doing 4 units, I need 216 hours. If I'm doing 2 units, I need 108 hours. So if we go back to that timesheet, you just start recording all your hours on here and the months that you're working, right? February, March, April, May. When it's all done, the grand total, do you see how I added that up? Like I'll put some other hours here. What's cool about this is see how it automatically adds them. So when you're all done, if you were going for, let's say I'm just going for a half a unit, which would be 27 hours. Boom. I can see, okay, I got 27 hours, and you have your um, uh, employer. This could be your supervisor, or if you have like a mentor technician or a mentor person at your particular job site, they would you could initial it right here. They would initial it right there for them, or you could digitally do it. Um, but basically, this is the form that you turn in all your hours in. Now, this form isn't due for a long time. In fact, if I go back to the assignment, you can see it's not due till May 15th, basically the very end of the semester. But I wanted to talk about it tonight so you can start keeping track of your hours. Even if, I don't know, maybe you're keeping track of your hours on a piece of binder paper. Like, I don't care what it is. Maybe there's a computer at your job site that tracks your hours. That's fine. But ultimately, you're going to have to take that information, fill it out into this form, get it initialed and submit it. And remember, when it comes to submitting, you either want to fill it out digitally and then, save it and submit. So I'm going to save it with my changes and, do all that, like fill it out all digitally and then submit it that way. Or if you're going to print it out, and I asked this again, I'm like, are you sure they just can't take a picture of it? And they were like, no, we really want them scanned. So you either have to do it all digitally or print it out and then fill it out, scan it, and then submit it. Okay. So that'll be actually one of the last forms that you turn in for this class. However, because I had so many questions related to the number of hours and stuff in the class, I wanted to make sure I covered that particular form tonight first. Okay. Now, if I go back to assignments, um, well, let's go back to actually where we were. And if I click start assignment, right, I have saved one, so I'm going to say upload. And now I got to find that file. Now I think it's under my downloads. There it is. I could click it. So now I'm uploading it and it's there. Click submit. And I got the confetti here. So that allows me to know that I did submit that form, right? Um, always label your forms and stuff. I have them numbered, right? So this is form number 10. Um, make sure that you don't get them mixed up. I've had a few folks, they get the wrong, they upload the wrong form in the wrong spot. So, all right, I'm going to go back to assignments. What are the other forms? Well, actually, one of the Title V forms coming up is your midterm assessment. So let's look at this one. Form 8 midterm assessment. This is where your mentor evaluates how you're doing so far at your job site. So let's check this thing out. I'll go ahead and download it so we can really see what it is. I want to make sure screen share wise that is sharing. So let me make sure that that's working. Yes, okay. All right, so this form is it's a little confusing, like it's a little kind of overwhelming. I feel like the idea is like this isn't where you're getting evaluated on your learning objectives. It's just more an evaluation of how's it going at your job site, right? So you get this thing, you fill out name, class, all that type of stuff, wherever you're working. Let's say I was working at, I don't know, I'm working at Big O Tires. All right, so I start filling that in. Eventually, like you're gonna evaluate yourself, and you can see that satisfactory is a 3, good is a 4, 5 is doing excellent, right? And you go through and you evaluate yourself, and it's just you click the boxes, and then there's a spot for your um, supervisor, or again, if you have a mentor technician or somebody that you're working with, where they can evaluate you, and you get that thing all kind of lined up. Now, some of these things maybe they don't apply to your particular um, job site, right? Like uh, I don't know, learns from and works collaboratively with individuals representing diverse cultures, ethnicity. Like I don't know, a lot of our work sites have a pretty diverse group, but I don't know, maybe you didn't. I don't know. You could put, oh, this one doesn't apply to my work site or something. So, anyways, it's just to see like how are you doing at your work site. It's a midterm evaluation. They can put some comments here at the bottom. You sign it, they sign it. It's just kind of like this is how this person's doing. Okay. I'll go ahead and save it with my changes, and then I can later uh, load it up onto Canvas. Um, so this one isn't due for a while, right? It's not due till the midterm, but April 3rd. So the middle of the semester actually for us is spring break, which is March 17th to 23rd, I believe. So I made this thing due just shortly after that. So that's considered just past the middle of the semester. Um, so there's a midterm. assessment. There is a final assessment, which is exactly the same form, just it's done again at the end of the semester. Okay, so see the same form, same setup, end of the semester. Doing the wrong thing here. Let's see. Let's go back a page. And then it's a little confusing because you have those assessments and then you have this thing that says form number 7 performance evaluation. Well, this is where you get evaluated on how you did on your learning objectives. Form 6 that we had to do was, what are your learning objectives in the class, right? You were supposed to pick 3 things that you were going to, work on learning or getting better at your job site. And I said, hey, if you're only doing like a half a unit or maybe 1 unit of work experience, I would only do like 1 or 2 learning objectives. But if you're doing 3 or 4 units of work experience, then I do want you to put down 3 different objectives. And these are 3 skills or different things you want to learn. Okay. So this form is where you actually get rated, like, how are you doing towards those objectives? Okay. And so the idea is that you're going to get feedback from your mentor, technician, supervisor, or whoever's you're working with your paperwork at your job site on those learning objectives. So that's what this form is. This form's not due till towards the end of the semester. It's not due till May, but I wanted to talk about it. Like this is a in my view, like, we are required to do all the forms. This form to me though is more important because it's like you set 3 goals of things that you wanted to get better at your job site, and this is where you see, well, how well did I do towards those goals, right? So this is really, in my mind, what it's all about right here, honestly. So that's this form number 7, performance evaluation. And I know you're probably thinking, my goodness, this is a lot. There's a lot of forms, right? Well, remember the first class I said, yeah, the thing about this work experience class is we're giving you college credit for what you're doing at work. And there's a lot of red tape. The red tape is getting these darn forms filled out. Essentially, though, when you think about it, it's 10 forms. You have 10 different forms to fill out to get your credit. And actually, a few of those forms were optional. So, all right. Are we out of the woods yet? Well, that's just all the Title V forms. Okay. There's 2 other things I want you to do for the class. Okay. 2 other assignments, if you will. And that is the driving directions and the resume. So a couple of you guys have already done this driving directions one. Let's look at this one more time here. Because I think we looked at this last week. So what this assignment is it's just a little bit of info to help me figure out where the heck I'm going, who I'm talking to, what's going on when I go visit your job sites. Now, I totally realize that like the address of your job site is on the other Title V forms. This is here to kind of help me make it a little bit easier. And again, so I know who I'm talking to, where to park, where's the front entrance, that type of thing. Okay. So it'll help me get those visitations done a little bit easier. Our semester's flying by. We're in week 4 right now, right? And it's Thursday night. So we're towards the end of week 4. I'm going to try to visit some job sites next week. Then I start teaching like back-to-back classes. So I might have an opportunity to visit some job sites in the morning. But fear not, the third 5 weeks of the semester, I won't have a bunch of stuff going on during the days. So I will be able to visit all your job sites and stuff, which is good because by that point, you've been there long enough where, there'll be stuff to talk about and everything. So the driving directions, that is an assignment. And then I got one last one for you. Okay. and that is resume. So the idea with this assignment is that um, you're going to be working at a job site or doing an internship somewhere, and in theory it should help you add more skills to your resume. It should give you some work experience, some work history. If you're just getting started in the work world, or you're just getting started in your particular field of interest, um, then you're kind of building that. I put an example resume here that I sucked off the internet. That was an automotive technician kind of themed one, where you can see that this person here has quite a bit of work history here. Um, and then they got skills and education and that type of stuff. But it's always good to have, update your resume. Or first of all, it's good to one, have a resume. And then what happens is, if you're at a job site for a while, you don't really think about your resume, and you never know where life takes you, and all of a sudden you need that thing. So it's always good to occasionally get that resume out, right? Figure out what computer you saved it on and where it is, and update that sucker and keep it handy, so when you need it, you don't have to remake it, like it's ready to go. So the idea with this assignment is, it's kind of like forcing you guys, if you've never made a resume, to make one. If you made one but now you don't know where it is, you got to go find what computer you saved it on and get it all up and updated and submitted and stuff, so you have it close at hand. And the idea is that through the course of this class, if you're working on different goals and objectives, right? You're working on those three goals. Um, they will add, maybe three things to your skills on your resume here. Okay. Now, just a couple of tips, because I know that I have some of you guys that are master techs, and you have a hard time fitting all your work experience into a resume and keeping it down to 1 or 2 pages, right? And some employers, like, they really want like, I think you want a resume that you can smash everything together and have like a 1 page resume, and then maybe you have like a 2 or 3 page resume for a follow-up interview or something like that. But so some of you guys, you probably have a hard time even getting your stuff down to 2 or 3 pages, and others of you, I realize, you're just getting started in your work field, and maybe you're having a hard time just making that initial resume because you don't have a lot of work history. My general recommendation would be, well, if you have less work history, elaborate more on your education, right? What education experience do you have? And then what skills do you have that are related to whatever career field you're applying for? So you can kind of expand more on those skills. You can list other internships or volunteer efforts or different things you've done. And those things should help you kind of at least build a 1 page resume. Okay. So that's really, kind of like, you have all the Title V forms to do, and that there's that, like, that's just part of the class. There's nothing I can do about it. That's like a requirement to get your units for work experience. You got to complete those 10 Title V forms. The resume is one thing that, we've as educators, we've added in because we felt like it was important to do and pertinent to the class. Now, um, the Career Center here on campus, we were talking about that last week. The Career Center can help you guys put together a really nice resume. So if you're struggling with this, um, I would say go see the Career Center. Okay. This isn't due for quite a while because, I was hoping, at the beginning I thought, oh, you should have your resume done right away because it helps you get that position. But honestly, we have been so busy with how do the Title V forms work and all that stuff. I realized I'm not going to worry about it. So I put the due date. It's not due till May 1st. I pushed it back so that you could then update your resume with any additional skills that you've acquired during the course of this class, because I felt like there was just too much stuff due right away with all those Title V forms. And that was a confusing enough deal as it was. Okay, so um, now I think I've covered the vast majority of these different assignments, whether it's how do you submit your timesheet, the resume assignment, the midterm assessment. We looked at the driving directions, all that stuff. So, welcome in, Jesse. Good to have you here. So, we were just finishing reviewing all the different assignments, which is really, there it's a resume and all the Title V forms. So, I tried to make it as easy and as simple as I could and have a little bit of stuff for you guys to do, but not overwhelm you with stuff. Because again, the majority of this class is really supposed to be just allowing you to do what you're doing at your job sites. Okay. Now there's one last thing on this list. It says weekly check-in discussion. Okay. Because now at this point, we're in week 4, we're finishing week 4, and I've now talked about all the assignments that you guys have to do. Okay. At this point, I don't want to have to keep beating you up with weekly Zoom sessions. I think we'll have a couple more Zoom sessions later on in the semester, and I'll make announcements about those and different things. And maybe one of them we'll look at more examples of different resumes. I'll try to put together a lesson, a more in-depth lesson on writing a resume and looking at different examples, that type of thing, as we get closer to when that assignment's actually due. But rather than just bore you to tears every Thursday night like we've been doing, and I'm sorry, I do have to have some way of taking weekly attendance, right? So I got Nashwan right here. I saw Jesse just popped in. Colby's been here every week. Like I've been, you guys have been doing a great job, and I kind of record your attendance off of our Zooms. One of the requirements that the college or the district has for this class is, hey, if it's your first time of work experience, they want some type of weekly attendance log, if you will. So rather than bore you each week with a terrible Zoom lesson, here's what we're going to do. We're going to have you just check in each week. And it looks like Albert already has. Thank you, Albert. Awesome job. Colby, man, you guys are kicking butt. And this is kind of fun because everybody can see what they're doing. And it's kind of fun. I logged in as the test student just to make sure it works. And so it's a way for me to then kind of take your attendance, make sure that, hey, yeah, you are following along, you're working through the class, all that type of stuff. And it will meet the requirements the district has for me as far as attendance. And it's kind of a good opportunity for you each week. It's like, okay, what did I do this week at work? Or what was an interesting thing that happened? What did I learn? Right. One thing I liked about being an auto tech, honestly, was that I felt like I learned something new every week. A lot of times the car would come in and it would just totally destroy me. I was trying to figure out what was wrong with it. But I felt like I learned something new every week. And the weeks I didn't learn something new, like something funny happened or something weird happened. And so it was always something. So on this weekly check-in discussion, and I'll update this thing from time to time, but it's just, drop in, give me a few sentences. Oh, this is something that happened, doing good, or, so that I can keep track of you. And then what I will do on Thursday nights is I won't make a required Zoom, but I will make myself available on Thursday evenings if you want to ask me some questions. So I'll make sure that I'm sitting in front of, a computer, whether it's this computer in my office at the school or it's my laptop or something at home, but I'll make sure that I'm available so that, and I'll set up just like an open Zoom or something. So if you need to get a hold of me and ask me some questions or something, we can get that figured out, but we won't have like a structured uh, lesson. It'll be kind of more of a drop-in thing. And so if you don't need any help with anything, you don't have any questions, you don't have to worry about come into a Zoom, all you got to do is go to this weekly check-in and give me an update of what's going on out there. Okay?
Excuse me, Professor.
Yes, sir.
So thank you very much. So we have to post on this discussion every week, right?
Yeah, each week post a little something. It doesn't have to be a lot, just something you did at work, or again, it could be something funny that happened. It could be something that you learned. Just a little something
Okay.
of what you did, what you worked on, something. So I know that you're kind of, you're participating, right?
Yeah, I
Really, like
understand.
it's a way for us to show attendance participation in an online class. So if you're taking any other online classes, by the way, um, uh, guys, because I know a lot of you do, like when you're doing an online class, that's why they have these discussions, is it's a way to show for the teacher to show the powers that be that there is interaction in the class, and it's a way to kind of check attendance, if you will, so that everybody is kind of following along. So, um,
Okay.
yeah.
Thank you very much. And excuse me, also, this is today. This is the last Zoom, so that means next.
Yeah, it'll be the last Zoom for a while. I want to do a couple more. I want to do one on resumes, and I probably will need to do one as we're getting closer to the end, and we have a whole bunch of assignments and things that are due, just to make sure. Because you know how it is. I know how you guys. You're probably just like me. You'll be like, oh yeah, I forgot how to fill this out or something. So I'll do a couple more Zooms later on in the semester. One
Okay.
about resumes and one just to kind of review of getting all your forms and stuff turned in, and
Right.
but that way you guys don't have to come every week. I know a lot of you guys are you're on your way to your 6 o'clock evening class, or doing other things. So I don't feel like I need to bore you too much with that. So
Okay. Thank you
anyways,
very much. Got it.
okay, really good. Okay, so I know it's just a little bit past 6. I wanted to show you guys um two more things, okay? And that is last week I tried to get the Handshake app working. It's like a job search engine thing, like you will. Like there's monster.com, there's all kinds of stuff. Handshake is one that the college uses. So I got my thing working. I go to jobs. I'm gonna type in, and so what's interesting is I remember this having a lot more jobs in it than it seems. Now it seems like it's a lot of like city state agencies, but that's kind of good because I'm gonna put automotive in here, and it'll punch up all the automotive things. It has some interesting stuff, but this Handshake app does seem to be like tied into a lot of government type of positions. But I was going to tell you guys, as auto mechanics, if you're in the automotive section of the class, I mean there is some good positions working on things like if you're working at the post office, because they have good benefits and different things. So, and sometimes these aren't shown in other forms. Now, here's what's interesting, okay, for you guys is um, mechanical, electrical technology. It'll even show jobs for like when I'm looking for a teacher here at the college, it will come up. So I thought that was kind of interesting. There's a lot of jobs out there that are, whether it's at a welding shop or like the small independent, privately owned businesses, not a lot of those are on Handshake. So that's kind of the downside of it. But the upside is if you are looking to work for maybe like a fleet or a city or a state type of job. I was there was Caltrans and stuff on here earlier. This Handshake system is queued into a lot of that stuff. And of course, as a Los Rios student, you can get an account with Handshake set up and search through all that stuff. I'm gonna put in welding. Let's see what we get under that. Industrial maintenance mechanic. aerospace engineering internship. I mean, so there's definitely is some um, interesting stuff on there. Okay, so I tried to show this to you guys last week, and my account was all messed up, and it took me a while to get it straightened out. But this is, one of those. Handshake is one of those apps that helps you find different jobs and different internships out there that you have your access to as a Los Rios student, as an ARC student. Um, all right,
Excuse me,
now,
Yusuf.
yeah,
I remember. So did you record this Zoom today, right?
I did. I did.
Thank
It's
you.
it's
Thank you.
it's being recorded, and I'll make sure, like this one and all the other ones, like I'll make the link up there. Again, you won't be able to just go to YouTube and search it because I make it a hidden link so that you have to be in our class and go to the announcements, and you'll find that link to open up this weekly
Okay. Thank
report.
you very much.
Okay, right. And I do that because I've had a number of students contact me and they said, you know what, I have class at 6 and I'm driving in the car at 5:30. Um, welcome back in, Michael. They say, hey, I'm driving back in the car, or I was there for the first part of your Zoom, but I had to leave for the last part. And so I always try to make a recording of it. So I will get that punched up either tonight or tomorrow morning. Okay. Um, Other things I wanted to show you as we kind of wrap up tonight's Zoom class. Um, have all the documents and stuff on there. All right, so with the work experience program, if you were to look at our class curriculum, there's a lot of general stuff related to jobs and the work world and all that stuff. And they make these learning outcomes very generic for all the work experience programs, whether it's the automotive class section or the welding class section or the work experience classes that are across campus for different disciplines. On Canvas, you'll see this thing that says work experience, teaching resources, different learning objectives. What I have here is all kinds of really good web links and different things, whether it's self-evaluation or leadership stuff, um, TED Talks, all kinds of things. And these are the links that basically line up with what is in the curriculum for student learning outcomes. For some of you guys, you might look at this and go, oh, this seems kind of like silly stuff, right? But there is some good info here. Um, I kind of like this one, like you don't need a bachelor's degree to land a high-tech, high-paying job. I'll go ahead and open up this link. This is from NPR. They have a whole, article here all about it. So it's articles, it's videos, it's all kinds of stuff. Um, Anyways, I just wanted to point out for you guys that, I have some resources and things that if you have the time and you want to look at them, there's some interesting stuff in there. Workforce trends, all kinds of stuff related to um, the work world, if you will. Okay. And some of that might really apply to you and some of it might not. I'm not going to like force you to go through it, right? I don't have a zillion assignments on this or anything. Remember, your big assignment is just making a resume. I just wanted to show you that these resources are there and there is some good information that our work experience department here at ARC has put together for you guys. So you might want to check it out and kind of scroll through it and you might find some really good info and stuff in there. And some of the stuff is kind of, you think, well, what's that about? Like preparing students to lose their jobs. Well, this is all about that. The work world, oh, the work world has changed. Oh no, my thing's not working. The work world has changed and you're probably going to end up going from one job site to another. And so like being ready with that resume to apply different things. You can stay in the same discipline or skill set, but you know, you might end up being at different companies. Whereas like my grandfather, if you will, like he started working for one company and worked there his entire career and retired from that company. So, anyways, I wanted to point out some of those good resources and things for you that we have here on Canvas under this work experience student learning outcomes. And again, they're kind of general, but there is some good nuggets of information there. So with that, like that's kind of all the stuff I had for you so far, right? We've gone over all the assignments, which basically relates to getting all of these Title V forms submitted. And we looked at how to do that. We also looked at, after tonight, we're not going to do weekly Zooms. We'll do a couple more later on in the semester, but I won't make you sit through my boring Zoom lectures. But I do want you to do your weekly, check in through the discussion, weekly check-in discussions. And again, each Thursday night, I'll make sure that I'm available for questions and stuff. I just wanted to say I apologize. I've been a little bit hard to get a hold of. I have a phone now in my office that's linked to the computer. It's still not working, but we are making progress. We're slowly getting there where I actually have a working office. Um, and I feel like the system's working a little bit better each and every day. So anyways, it's been a pleasure being with you guys. Do you guys have any last questions for me as we wrap up this Zoom session tonight?
Thank you very much, Professor.
Okay, thank you, Nashwan. Well, guys, I appreciate it. Again, I'll be available to ask questions of and access next Thursday night, but you won't be required to go to a Zoom or anything. All you have to do is check in once a week and let me know how things are going at work. I will start, visiting your work sites throughout the semester. Keep sending in your various Title V forms and those assignments. Don't forget there's a driving directions activity. And then towards the end of the semester, it'll be your resume and of course, keeping track of your work hours. Okay. That's it for tonight. I'll let you guys get back to your regular lives. And again, I appreciate you guys hanging out. Okay.
Okay, thank you. Bye-bye.
All right, guys. You guys take care. All right. Good night, everybody.